Hello everyone, it's me, Clayton. I just saw the new Child's Play, starring Aubrey Plaza and Gabriel Bateman, and starring the voice of Mark Hamill as Chucky. Now, when it comes to the Child's Play movies, I remember seeing the first one when I was a younger lad, and I remember thinking it was a pretty preposterous but also generally entertaining slasher film. So I think it still holds up by today's standards in the same way that Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street do. Slasher films that definitely pushed boundaries in the past, but definitely are kind of hokey by today's standards. The Child's Play remake revamps the Child's Play concept and is pretty much entirely different from the original. That can both be a blessing and a curse. Let's get to the story, shall we? The story is that Andy, played by Gabriel Bateman, is an unhappy 13-year-old kid who just moved into a new neighborhood, has to deal with a boyfriend of his mother's that he doesn't like, and he just doesn't have any friends. So his mother Karen, played by Aubrey Plaza, gets him a buddy doll, which is, in this version, unlike in the original where it's just a toy, in this version it's basically like an Alexa that can connect to every electronic device in your house. You know how those work. It looks much creepier than the original, which I'm sure was done intentionally, but still, why would anyone buy that sort of thing? And it has the voice of Mark Hamill, and when the toy tries to understand Andy, it misinterprets certain information that he's getting across, and that on top of a defect made with that's made with when he was created, he ends up becoming the serial killer doll you'd expect him to be. Now, when it comes to the story, it is pretty ludicrous when it comes to its concept. But when it comes to other concepts that are done similarly, like the ones in Black Mirror, it actually does allow for a lot of creatively goofy fun. And there are definitely times when the film does embrace that, especially with the various kill scenes. Yeah, they're filled with generally built-up one-liners, the classic jump scares, and typically creative ways in which Chucky dispatches his usually completely unlikable victims. Well, usually unlikable is a good way to put it. And Mark Hamill does a really good job with the vocal performance. He doesn't try to copy Brad Dourif's performance, he just does his own thing, and I think it works really well. But then again, I love practically everything Mark Hamill's in. Gabriel Bateman and Aubrey Plaza are also good as Andy and Karen, and they generally do feel like a mother and son duo, and I think they generally work well off each other. The other characters, including a detective, neighborhood kids, and others, are pretty one note. Most of them generally fit into horror movie tropes that you'd see coming from a mile away. Speaking of which, this movie also liberally borrows from several horror movie tropes. Some of them are clearly throwbacks to the original, like I said, the one-liners, the over-the-top kills, the suspense leading to a jump scare. But others, such as the generally incompetent police force, well, I should say the detective is somewhat incompetent, and some moments that are too preposterous to happen in real life, those happen there as well. Especially considering, unlike in the original, where the Chucky doll has the soul of a serial killer inside of it, freaking really, with this movie, it's clearly just a malfunctioning AI. It made me wonder why they had to make this a Child's Play movie at all, other than just for brand recognition. If it wasn't called Child's Play, and if the doll looked different, and if they were reworked one or two little things, this could have been a completely different film. This could have been an original story, and I think it would have worked better for that. But they absolutely had to make it a Child's Play movie. They had to make the killer Chucky, and they had to, remind you of the original in several different ways. There's even a callback to two of the most famous one-liners near the end. So, I think it's a decent film that would have worked better if it was its own thing. If it didn't feel the need to copy the original in a few certain ways. That's why I'm going to give Child's Play a 7 out of 10. See you next time.